Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, whenever you're watching or listening to this, and welcome to Link Up Leaders, your direct link to leaders in supply chain and e-commerce. My name is Lisa Kinski. I'm your producer and co-host, and joined as always by Francois Jeffrey. Francois, how are you doing today, dear?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm good. My brain's everywhere.
Good weekend?
Yes, it was a good weekend. I finally got my Christmas tree up. And that's kind of why like my head is in a tailspin now, because now it's like I've been Christmas shopping for literally, I could almost probably say months. It's been like a month and a half. I've been like slowly rolling up gifts. But now my tree is up. One of my good friend's birthday celebrations is done. His birthday is today. And then my very best girlfriend's birthday is tomorrow. And then I have another good friend whose birthday is in a couple weeks. And then naturally there's Christmas. And then we have do. And I just did Secret Santa assignments today. So my head is like everywhere right now.
Yeah.
So
you got a lot of events.
I have so much going on. That's by December though. Oh, and I have a different Christmas party the following week. It's just nuts. It is nuts. So it is really going to be a miracle if I can stay relatively on topic today. Because I've also been on the coffee hardcore and I'm like tweaking right now.
I think I just got all that out of my system. I had a few cups of coffee, and then I was just did that podcast with the Quiet Light podcast, which was amazing.
Good. I'm excited to hear that one. Joe's great. I like him a lot.
Joe's an amazing guy. Yeah. If you haven't heard of Joe Valley yet, the Exitpreneur's Playbook, one of the best playbooks that you'll find out there if you are in e-commerce or really any startup business and plan to exit your business. So shout out to Joe. And it was a great episode. We talked all about supply chain, talked all about the complications, what we see going into 2022. And he said it should be being released soon, and found a new place that we can order. His partner also that also works at Quiet Light produces and sells slippers. And so it's called buyhappyfeet.com. So if you need slippers this December, buyhappyfeet.com, awesome company. I was checking it out. Great prices also, and really good designs. Yeah, they have a bunch of different like NCAA ones I'm probably going to order, NFL ones and stuff like that too.
Very cool. Well, when your episode with Joe comes out, we'll have to link it in the description of this one so people can refer to it. I'm definitely excited to hear that for sure.
It was a longer conversation. It was a little bit all over the place, which is just supply chain, right? It's just all over the place. It's like you talk about one thing, you have to talk about the next thing. You have to talk about, if you talk about, the ports, you have to talk about 3PL. If you talk about 3PL, you have to talk about the partners with the carriers, FedEx, UPS, all those things. So it was an interesting podcast. I'm excited for it to come out. Quiet Light podcast.
I am too, but that's not what we're talking about today. We're not talking about supply chain. Not today. Today.
No.
Well,
not really.
Not really at all. Maybe you can relate supply chain. You can relate supply chain into literally any conversation. I could be like,
it's all related.
You'd be like, oh yeah, we went to Longhorns over the weekend and there was a long wait, and you're like, well, the supply chain. And I'm like, no, it's because they were short staffed. I did have the Longhorns. Just pulled that out of the air. But no, so today it's not really supply chain focused. Today we're going to be kind of more on the e-com side focused. And today we are talking with Raúl Galera it's Referral Candy. I'm looking at it and I just totally blanked. I almost called it with referral marketing, but no, we're talking about referral marketing with Raúl, who is the chief advocate at Referral Candy. No relation to Seller Candy. Raúl, welcome to the show.
Hello, thanks for having me.
Thank you for tuning in, and thank you for tolerating this crazy energy that we're bringing in today. And by we, I mean me. But we're so excited to have you here. I just got to know you. Francois, let me tell you the story behind this one. We were introduced through kind of one of the podcast partners, and I had sent the podcast booking link before I sent the introduction link. And so I was like, who is this? That's why I messaged you. I was like, who is Raúl? Where did he come from? I don't know who this is. And I was like, oh, this was 100% my fault. So we just had a pretty good chat on, was it Friday? Yeah. On Friday afternoon. And so I'm very excited for this conversation. I know all about Referral Candy. I think it's a super, super cool thing that you guys have going on. So why don't you let everybody know a little bit about what you guys do and what your role is over there?
Yeah, absolutely. So we are an app that allows e-commerce brands to set up and run customer referral programs. So customer referrals is probably one of the most cost-effective marketing channels that are available to, not only e-commerce, but pretty much any business out there. But since we're talking about e-commerce, for brands is one of the best channels that they can have because it's almost 100% performance-based. And so what we do is that we help these brands to basically put their referral marketing and their word of mouth on autopilot. So we allow them to set up and run these referral programs in which customers get their own unique referral link. They can share it with their friends. And then we kind of like track the whole referral activity from there. And we automate payouts and everything. So it's all kind of set and forget.
And it's interesting to me because I think you had just said like put your word of mouth, marketing on autopilot, but it kind of like optimizes it and amplifies it too. Because if Four Sigmatic gave Francois one of these referral codes, they would bring in so much extra business. This man talks about it almost every single episode. So it's something
shout out to Four Sigmatic.
We need to recommend to them because he does that every time. He's like, yes, this is the best. But it's really interesting to hear about what you guys have going on. I don't know. I find it fascinating about how it works to like help the business and then also to kind of protect it. It helps the customers to save money, but it also, what you guys do with the fraud protection also helps the businesses to kind of protect themselves. I mean, we can get a little bit further into right? Like I didn't know that referral fraud was a thing, like just in terms of business. But when he explained it to me, it makes a lot more sense. But let's not get into the weeds yet. How did you find your way to ReferralCandy? What's your background?
So my background is mostly in sales. And so I was, back in 2016, I was living in Santiago in Chile. I'm from Spain, born and raised there and lived there my whole life. But I went to live in Chile for 2 years. I worked for a French startup there, and I was doing sales. I was pretty much the only person doing sales there. And then I wanted to work in tech. Back then I was working in recruiting. So I wanted to get involved in the tech world. And I also wanted to work remotely. And so I came across ReferralCandy on AngelList. They had a remote friendly position for, I think it was like a sales manager or like sales specialist. And so I decided to email the CEO directly. So I found them on LinkedIn, found his email address and said, hey, I would love to work with you guys. Because I researched the company, and I personally, I wasn't really, I didn't really know much about referral marketing back then. So I thought it was just, really smart, a really smart way of doing marketing, also pretty honest way of doing marketing by kind of like letting your own customers do the selling for you. So that also kind of, I like that part of, coming from sales. I kind of like that part as well, like turning your customers into your sales force. And so I emailed the CEO, we had a couple interviews, and kind of the rest is history. So yeah, I've been working at ReferralCandy for 5 years now.
That's awesome. Yeah, you probably got really lucky already having the infrastructure and ability to work remote when COVID broke out.
Oh, yes.
Because some people really had to scramble. So I want to ask a question up top that I know everybody kind of thinks whenever we're talking about some of these solutions, especially when it comes to like reviews or referrals. Does ReferralCandy work for Amazon sellers? Because everybody knows Amazon's got a lot of terms of service and rules and ownership of the customer relationship. Does it work for folks who are exclusive to Amazon?
No. Talking about ReferralCandy specifically, no, because the way we work is by integrating with the actual store. If you're, and now kind of going back outside of ReferralCandy, just referral marketing in general, you need to be able to have a kind of like a close relationship with your customers as a seller. To be able to get them to refer you to their friends and family. And I know that's not too available in the Amazon platform for sellers to be able to contact their customers directly and encourage them to go out and refer. So yeah, it's something that works really well for kind of DTC brands that sell directly through their own website.
Very cool. And like you said, you guys integrate through kind of the big players, right? But you can also do direct APIs if you have something that's not in, Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce. You can do it for like small custom built sites.
Yep, exactly. So we have an API, and then there's also a couple other ways that you can integrate with ReferralCandy. At the end of the day, we need information about the purchase that just took place, so we can kind of verify that the person that clicked on the referral link is the same person that went through the checkout and completed the purchase. Yeah, just to be able to kind of like track the whole referral activity from the link to the purchase. So yeah, if the seller's on Shopify, BigCommerce, WooCommerce, Magento, all that, the integration is fairly simple. If they have their own custom site built, they can still integrate with us through one of these like 3 different kind of standalone options.
That's awesome.
And can you walk us through? I refer people to credit cards all the time because I want points. But can you walk us through sort of this concept of referral marketing and how, I guess, a basic usage of it when it comes to, let's say, a Shopify store? I think that's probably one of the easiest ones.
Yeah. So for the merchant, the first thing they need to do when they set up a referral program is to decide the rewards. So what are they going to give to their customers to incentivize them to refer, which could be a coupon towards a future purchase. It could be cash. If you're selling a product that your customers are not going to buy anytime soon, it's better to give them cash. Or what we call the custom reward, which could be a free product or a gift card or something along those lines. And then they need to decide what are they going to give to their customers' friends to incentivize them to make that first purchase, which in some cases it's, in my opinion, even more important than the reward that you're giving your customers to incentivize them to refer. Because if we're talking about maybe affiliate marketing, in the sense that you have like a review site or you have a blog, and you have some sort of affiliate link on your content, and then you have people that you don't personally know going through that link and making a purchase, maybe offering an incentive to those people to buy. Maybe it's not that big of a deal, but if we're talking about people that are referring their friends and family, coworkers, then the ability to give something to somebody that you care about, it's really important. And actually, we've seen a lot of referral programs that have worked really well because the friend reward was a lot higher than the reward that the customer was getting for making that recommendation. If you can give your friends a 50% discount that it's unique to the referral program, there's no other way they would be able to get that 50% discount. That's going to be an incentive for somebody to go out and refer. But yeah, so setting up the reward system is the kind of like the first part of it. So what are you going to give to your customers to incentivize them to refer, and also what are their friends going to get in order to be able to make that first purchase. And then the way it actually works for the consumer is that once you are an advocate for a store, you get your own unique referral link, and then you can share that referral link, in a group chat or social media, whatever it is. Your friend will click on the referral link. They're taken to a landing page with the offer and a coupon code, and then from there they're taken to the store so they can complete the purchase. And then once that purchase is verified, the advocate that made the recommendation in the first place will get their reward, which could be cash or a coupon or something along those lines.
And so is this something, it sounds complex. I mean, it sounds simple, but it's, to me, it sounds like you have to have, let's say, your email marketing team in line with, let's say, your company, and also IT maybe creating more landing pages specifically for that referral. I guess, how does cross-functionally, how does this work? Like, what teams do you typically work with?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I mean, so from our inception as a company and as a product, we've actually always think about small merchants when we think about developing or improving the product, in the sense that even though we have big stores and big brands using Referral Candy, but we also have startups that are using the product. And the reason why we have these small merchants in mind is because we try to make everything as simple as possible. So we assume that we might have a merchant who's like a company with hundreds or thousands of employees that are going to use Referral Candy, and they have the resources to, like you said, build landing pages and set up email flows and all that. But we also think about the small merchant that maybe it's a solo entrepreneur, doesn't really have the time to go out and create 5 different landing pages or different email flows. So the way we build Referral Candy is that all of that, it's pre-built. So you only have to upload a couple of images, which is typically a logo and a banner, and make some small changes to maybe the font or your kind of primary colors, and then you can create a set of templates, emails, and pages that are ready to go, right? And you can just set the referral program live, and the emails will get sent out automatically. So, for example, the post-purchase emails, the customers will get those emails after making a purchase, and they'll be invited to join the referral program. Same with the pages. So all of that, it's pre-built. Now, for bigger companies, a lot of them decide to maybe externalize part of those assets and create them on their own, or if they're using maybe Klaviyo, they rather use Klaviyo for kind of like the reminder emails or the post-purchase emails. But as a product, we always try to make things as simple as possible and allow them to launch the referral program in a matter of minutes.
And is this a conversation that I imagine you're also having? Are you having it with their finance team? Are they just having that internal? Because let's say you do offer your friend 50% off and you get another 15% off. Someone has to keep track of all these finances. I hope. I guess, how does a business owner, let's talk about a smaller business owner maybe, start to think about this and think about it from the referrer side and the referee, the one that's receiving the other referral?
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that we always tell merchants to think about is what are their margins looking like, and which is something that they already know by heart, and adjust the rewards accordingly. So, if you can obviously, try to give as much as possible, but obviously keep in mind what your customer acquisition cost is, and also compare it to other channels. What are you paying on Facebook or Instagram to acquire a new customer? Maybe think about it that way. Think also about the lifetime value of that customer, and again, see what are you willing to give to acquire that new customer. So these are all. I mean, at the end of the day, it doesn't really require them to do a lot of math, in the sense that they know exactly how much it costs for them to acquire a customer through all their marketing channels, and they also know what they're willing to give. So it's typically, I mean, if we're talking about a small business, it's something the founder can make that decision. For bigger companies, we see, I mean, I've had multiple conversations. The conversation typically start with the marketing team, and then there's somebody from finance that comes into the conversation towards the end to kind of like figure it out how, for example, in terms of how the cash rewards are paid out. So if we're sending out cash rewards, how does the process work? Is there anything required on their end, or anything like that? So, but it's a lot. The conversation is a little bit different when we're talking to a very small business or kind of like a bigger brand that needs to involve several other teams. But it's typically, I would say, it's typically marketing, because it's where the idea comes from, typically. Engineering, if they need some sort of like custom setup on their end, and then towards the end, it's the finance team that kind of comes in to make sure everything looks good.
And you brought something up there about the customer lifetime value. Do you have any stats on, like, on average, after a company deploys a referral marketing program, what does that do for the average customer lifetime value, or just for the retention, or maybe new customer acquisition? I mean, how do referral programs benefit these businesses? And I know it's like it depends, right? Like a small women's clothing boutique is going to be different than like Coca-Cola, but on average, what does it look like?
Yeah, that's a really good question. So, I mean, something that we've seen, and this is also part of research that we're always in the lookout for new research in terms of referral marketing. Referred customers typically stay longer and end up spending more, and it can be up to 3 times more than customers that have been acquired through other channels. And it makes sense because if you think about kind of like the customer nurturing process, if you have a customer that you are maybe first targeting through social media, and you are following a sequence in which you are nurturing them with information about your product and your company, towards the end, by the time they make that purchase, maybe they've been exposed to some product videos or some blog posts, or some content about your company that convinced them to go and make the purchase. But at the end of the day, somebody that came from our recommendation probably saw the product in real life, or maybe got an actual demo from a friend, right? So the nurturing process and the education process that a referred customer has gone through, it's a lot richer than the process that somebody that has been acquired through social media goes through. So that's the reason why customers that have been referred by an existing customer typically stay longer and end up spending more, because their conviction, they're really convinced about the purchase they're about to make, because they've been provided with a lot of information about the product, the pros and cons too, as well, which is something that, if you're going through a typical marketing funnel, you might not be exposed to the cons of the product. You might have to do the research yourself, but your friend's going to tell you, so look, this product's great. The only downside is this, but and that way you can kind of assess whether it's the right fit for you or not.
Yeah, that makes so much sense, because I've bought so many things where I never would have thought to purchase it before until a friend told me about it. Yep. This hyaluronic acid, where I was like, it's not worth my money. And then my girlfriend, she got a shipment of it from Amazon when I was over, and she was like, let me put this on your face. I was like, what's going on? And now I buy it every single month. But something else I had a question about was, you've talked about working with smaller businesses to these really large businesses. Does a referral marketing campaign or program make sense for any like sweet spot size of business? Because you've got to, in my head, right? Like, there's a certain point in time where the brand is recognizable enough and people are going to buy it regardless. That seems like something like that would almost have a diminishing returns, like Nike or Coca-Cola or something like that. I mean, theoretically, am I right or am I wrong?
I mean, yeah, those are really good examples of companies that they create so much word of mouth around them that they probably don't need a referral program, because we're so exposed to Nike or Starbucks or something along those lines that a referral from a friend's not really. I mean, in terms of product though, you might buy a specific product from those companies because a friend showed it to you, like a pair of like Nike shoes or something, right? Like you might buy from them. If you play basketball, you might see them on the court and be like, hey, are they good? Like, are they comfortable? Do you like them? And you kind of get that feedback from your friend. But it's true that from a business perspective, it might not make a huge difference on their bottom line, compared to what it can make for smaller businesses. So yeah, I mean, that's a really good question. I mean, yeah, for those kind of like massive companies that they pretty much the entire world is aware of their existence. Yeah, it might not be the right channel for them, I guess.
Yeah.
And so when you're building out, I guess, these referral campaigns, is it possible to test out variations of campaigns? Let's say going for specific types of listings, or if you were experimenting with subscriptions, or but I guess how would a business owner go about doing something like that?
Yeah. So in terms of setting up the rewards, there's a big difference in, or let me go back actually. So what we typically recommend merchants, it's to when they're looking for some sort of rule of thumb in terms of what they should offer to their customers and their friends for the referral program. The rule of thumb that we always give them is to look at their existing customers' purchase behavior. So, and I think that's something I mentioned earlier today. So if your customers are making recurring purchases, like a subscription, actually a subscription is probably the best scenario for a referral program, to be honest, because your customers are, they're so convinced about your product that they just get it delivered every single month, and they don't even have to think about going to your website. They just, it's part of their daily life, right? Like it's something that they're just expecting it. So it's probably the best case scenario for a referral program in that sense, because it's such part of their daily life that it's very possible that they're going to go out and tell their friends about it, right? So that's kind of like the best scenario. And for that particular scenario, what we typically recommend is to make it as seamless as possible for the customer to get rewarded, in the sense that if they refer a friend, they'll have a coupon code automatically applied to their next subscription, or they'll get their next subscription for free. Or as one of our customers do, it's called Thread Beast. They have, in my opinion, one of the best kind of like referral marketing setups that I've seen for subscriptions. Is that if you're a customer and you are on a subscription basis and you're getting their box every single month, if you refer a friend, you're going to get an additional box on the following month. But if you refer 2 friends, you're gonna get 2 additional boxes, and kind of like, so
wow.
it's a really powerful incentive for people to go out and refer. And actually, if you go on YouTube and search for Thread Beast, you're gonna see unboxing videos probably posted this week. It's Monday. I'm sure there's a video that was posted today of somebody unboxing one of those the subscriptions that they got, right? And it's a huge incentive for them, for these people to go out and refer, because they're getting free products that they love, by the way. They're already subscribed to it, so they love it. And also the friend, I think, gets like 50% off or something like that. So that's kind of like the best scenario, because you're either giving products for free, or you are giving them a discount on their next subscription, and also the friends being incentivized to make that first purchase and get into the subscription, because they have a big discount on the first box. Now, if you're on the other side of the spectrum, if you're selling a product that your customers are not going to buy anytime soon after the first purchase, and I always give the same example because it's probably the best one. If you're selling online mattresses, right? Once you buy a mattress, you're probably not going to buy another one, in the next 5 years, 7 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And so in those cases, it's better to either give some sort of free product that can go with it. So if you're selling like pillows or sheets or something like that, give it for free every time that you refer a friend, or give cash, which is the setup that we typically see for this type of company. So customer behavior, it's probably the number one thing to look at when thinking about setting up referral rewards, because it's what it's going to make the most sense for your customers.
And I'm glad that you brought up the mattress example, because I was going to ask what would be an example of something that folks wouldn't be purchasing more frequently. Would it just be a larger ticket item, like a TV, or something that, well, I guess a TV also does last a long time, but it's, I guess anything that you're not really just going to need again in 30 days or want in a different color, like a dress or something like that.
Yep. Exactly.
No, that's great. So is there any point in time when a referral program might, I don't know how to ask the question tactfully, what is referral marketing fraud? Because I want to go in and jump into that, because that's fascinating to me, because and I know what it is, and I'm guilty of committing a little bit of it in the example that we talked about before. So let's outline what it is, and then how it can impact a business, and then what the fraud protection is that you guys have.
Yeah. So the most common scenario for referral fraud will be somebody referring themselves. So obviously
I have done this.
Yeah. So I mean, obviously the nature of the referral program, or kind of like the goal behind it is it's being able to acquire new customers. And so if somebody is using the referral link to refer themselves, then obviously that's diminishing the whole idea behind the program, which is acquiring that new customer. But it happens. I mean, it's we're at the end of the day, we're dealing with people, and there's always going to be a little bit of room for somebody trying to game the system. So that's it happens. So what we built on top of Referral Candy is a system that prevents those self-referrals from happening in the first place. So we look at IP address, we look at the name of the person making the recommendation and the person actually making the purchase, and we can automatically ban those referrals from happening. So the purchase takes place, but we don't send the reward to the person. Now, on top of that, there are other activities that we don't automatically flag as fraud, but as potential fraud. So we want the merchant to take a look at it and tell us if we should disqualify the referral or ban the advocate. They can do it themselves. So we've built this fraud center that, among other things, we highlight suspicious activity, which could be something like somebody making a lot of referrals in a very short amount of time, right? Like maybe making like 50 referrals a day. That's unusual. So we want the merchant to take a look at that. Or maybe one of the referral coupon codes ended up in a coupon site, and that's not something the merchant wants to happen. So we can highlight that as well for the merchant to take action if they would like to. So, but yeah, that's kind of the concept behind fraud. I mean, it happens, right? So it's just a matter of giving the merchants the tools so they can handle it.
Mm-hmm. And without one of those kind of fraud protection programs in place or software, I mean, there's a lot of money to be lost, right? I mean, there's a lot kind of at stake, but it seems like there isn't because people are making purchases anyway. I mean, it's kind of like a win-lose.
I mean, this is a conversation that I have at least once a month with the merchant. I mean, the best way. So there's several things on top of the fraud. Looking at the fraud center, there are other things that you can do as a merchant to kind of protect yourself, and specifically in terms of Referral Candy, what probably the best way to almost fully protect yourself against fraud is to, like you said, if the person's still making a purchase, even if they're using a discount, they're still making a purchase. That's it. That they're not paying the full price, but at least they're making a purchase. That's probably the best setup for it. Like, instead of offering cash for every referral generated, offer a coupon code, and so that way maybe the friend or the person that referred themselves made a purchase using a discount, but the reward that they got in exchange, it's another discount. So they'll still have to buy again if they ever want to use that coupon code that they shouldn't have gotten in the first place, right? So yeah, for a lot of brands that's not enough, and I understand. They don't want to give out those. Maybe they're offering a very special discount that's much higher than what you can get from, let's say, Black Friday, Cyber Monday, or subscribing to the newsletter, right, which is typically 10%. If they're offering 20-25%, they want to make sure that that's a special discount for like a special occasion, right? So that's sometimes it's not enough. For other merchants, they're like, well, if they're just getting a coupon, they'll have to buy again from me to be able to use it, right? So it really depends on what's the philosophy that they use. But on top of that, there's other things that merchants can do, like, for example, setting a minimum purchase amount in order to be able to have that purchase qualify as a referral. So unless they spend $100, they won't be able to use the coupon code, for example. Or what else? Yeah, I mean, like, also our coupon codes only qualify for new customers. And so, if a merchant is running the referral program and that coupon code gets distributed among people that are existing customers, they won't be able to use it because they're already part of the system. So those coupon codes are only meant to be used by new customers. So yeah, there's several things that merchants can do to protect themselves. Also, they can set up what we call the purchase review period, which means that you can put referrals on hold for a certain amount of days, and that's in case you want to, as a merchant, protect yourself against cancellations or returns. So if somebody refers a friend and then the friend makes a purchase, and the advocate gets the reward, but then the order gets canceled or returned, that wouldn't qualify as a referral, right? So for some merchants, we allow them to set up that review period, which it could be like 10 days, 30 days, whatever their return policy is. And that means that only referrals whose purchase have gone through completely and they're no longer qualified for a refund, are the ones that get flagged as a referral, and they get, those customers get rewarded. So yeah, there's a bunch of things that the merchants can do to try to protect themselves as much as possible from fraud. That is
sneaky to send the reward to your friend and then have them can't. That is sneaky.
It happens.
Is there my number one thing when I'm trying to refer someone is that I will see those, the fine print at the bottom. And for example, Amex gives you they have to spend, I don't know, a certain amount of money over a certain amount. It turns me off sometimes. But I feel like if I saw that in a easier way, or maybe, I don't know, a nicer way. Do you see any clients that you have that are, I guess, relaying some of these stipulations in a more appealing way, I guess?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I also personally, I don't necessarily agree. I'm my philosophy when I talk to merchants and they ask me about what kind of rewards this should be given, I always say it's better to give something small often rather than offering a really big reward, but they have to fight for it. That's gonna turn people off. They might even get frustrated with the whole thing because they might have referred a bunch of friends, but maybe not all of them made a big enough purchase, and so it can get a little bit messy. And I've seen referral programs from products, not necessarily in e-commerce. I won't name the company, but there's a product that I use every single month, and they have a referral program in which you have to refer, I think it's 5 friends, and each one of them has to pay or spend at least like $250 or something like that. So it's a little bit too difficult, right? And I'm happy to spread the word, and I've spread the word about that product, without getting anything in exchange. But I think that referral program is it's a little bit too difficult. But answering your question, yes, we have a customer that's being able to make it difficult, but at the same time, make the referral program work. So it's a company that's called Referral Co. They're based in Australia, and they sell kind of like dolls for toddlers, right? And they help them sleep, especially for kids that they can't really sleep. These dolls, for some reason, they actually help them, and so parents are going crazy about this product because they hear stories from other parents and see how well it works, and then just and that's enough for them to be like, okay, let's try it out, right? And their product works so well that the referral program just came naturally, because there's lots of Facebook groups from parents that they're always exchanging ideas on how to educate their kids, and their referral program. So they only have, I think it's like 5 or between 5 and 10 items that they sell. It's kind of like the same product but in different versions. And so the way they built the referral program is that you, as an advocate, need to refer 5 friends to get a free product, which is another free toy. And they've made it in a way that it's kind of like, you can collect all 5 of these, right? So if you keep referring friends, we'll send you a different one every time. And so their referral program, we actually have a case study with them. It worked extremely well. I mean, this is still going, so it's actually working really well, and it's a great source of new revenue for them every single month. But by using that kind of like gamification aspect of collect all these different toys, it made it I guess incentivize customers to go out and refer, and they know that they need to refer 5 friends in order to be able to get the toy, and they're okay with that, right? Especially, and also because they have such a good product that customers are talking about it anyway, and that's the bottom line of any successful referral program. If your product is so good that your customers won't shut up about it, a referral program, it's gonna do wonders, because it's gonna amplify the word even more. But if that's the case that scenario that you're on right now, a referral program is definitely the way to go, because your customers are already going crazy about it, and that was part of the reason why the referral program worked so well, because by the time they got to Referral Candy, they already had lots of happy customers, talking about it on forums or on Facebook groups, or just leaving reviews, right? So that's the best scenario that you can be on.
And that's probably something these businesses should take into account before launching a referral program, right? Is what people are saying about their product, because word of mouth is as powerful actually, I think probably more powerful in the negative aspect than it is even in the positive aspect. Because anybody who's worked in the restaurant industry and tried to get a 5-star review on their service, nobody does that when they've had a good time. It is only when their food was late and somebody spilled wine on their fiance. I don't know. It's always just in the bad scenarios. But have you said subscription models are really great for referrals. Is there any product category or any niche that has really great potential for a solid referral program? Like you said, with that children's product, I assume anything in the baby or kids or parenting niche would be great. But anything else that you've seen that's been kind of unique or interesting that has a really strong potential?
So yeah, that's a great industry to be on. I mean, I was actually, I realized, I think it was last week, because we were kind of looking at what case studies we're going to build next, and I noticed that we actually have quite a few case studies that are in kind of the baby industry. Because there's a lot of recommendations, there's a lot of really active communities, which is another thing that brands need to really think about. It's being able to create a community around your customer base. But there's a lot of communities of parents that are just discussing ideas and exchanging recommendations for products. So those tend to work really well because of that particular aspect. I would say that fashion is one that works really well because of the kind of like the visual nature of it. If you're wearing a new t-shirt and your friend asks, where you got it from, you're probably going to share the referral link with them. But in my opinion, what makes a product referable, it's not necessarily the industry, because we've seen products from lots of different industries work really well. It's first of all, how good is it? I mean, a referral program is not going to fix a bad product or a bad service. If your customers are not happy with the product with the purchase they've just made, they're not going to refer their friends. And like you mentioned, probably quite the opposite. They might go and leave a bad review or leave a comment somewhere. So those early signs of getting maybe a message through your customer support channels, and people saying like, hey, I refer my friend, do you guys have some sort of incentive for it? Which happens. Those are early signs that I always tell merchants to look out for, because that means that it's the right time for them to start a program. But yeah, no, when it comes to kind of like figure out like what's the best scenario for you as a company in the industry or the field that you're on, I would say make sure that you have some sort of something unique about your product. So we've seen companies from highly competitive industries be able to stand out from their competition and run, very successful referral programs because there was something unique about them. And there's one particular example that I love, which is a company called Branch Basics, and they sell. I don't know if you guys are familiar with them, but they sell cleaning products. And I can't think of a more crowded industry than cleaning supplies, but they were able to stand out from their competition because the way they present their products is, look, the two main ingredients that you buy when you buy cleaning supplies are plastic and water. You buy the container and you're buying water because it's a solution that's diluted in water. And so what they do is that they sell you, so they're a subscription business also. So what they sell you in the first package is several different bottles and spray bottles that you can use at home. And then they sell you on a subscription basis this different kind of formulations in powder that you can dilute in water and clean at home. So that way you're only buying for the actual cleaning product that you need at home and not for plastic. And also you're not wasting lots of plastic. That's in a lot of cases not going to get recycled. And on top of that, they were able to kind of the formulation of those cleaning products. It's environmentally friendly and doesn't hurt your skin. It's such a great product. And I'm not a part of the referral program, but I still like to talk about them because they really built something unique, and their customers see that, and that's why their referral program works so well, because it's also something that's part of their daily life. And when they have people over, they're likely going to talk about it. Oh, have you heard of Branch Basics? Do you know that most of the products that you buy are plastic and water? And it's a very simple pitch for customers to repeat. And yeah, it's a very they're participating in a highly competitive industry, but they made something that they were able to come up with something unique. Which is also this kind of the same thing about Riff Raff and Co. that I mentioned earlier. They're selling toys. It's a massive industry. It's super competitive, but they were able to find their niche and try to figure out like what makes them unique. And yeah, that's the reason why their customers are going out and talking to their friends and family about it.
Yeah, I haven't heard of Branch Basics, but I do know another business similar methodology, I guess. I think it's called Blueland, and shame on me for not knowing better, but they do. You get a box and it comes with glass reusable containers, and you can put the labels on them, and essentially the solution is in like an effervescent tablet, for lack of a better term, and you just mix it with the water and you're not having to buy all the plastic and water every month. So little sustainability nerd over here. I love that. So.
Lisa is our office earth warrior. She has converted us into a very ecologically friendly office, or a more ecologically friendly office than when she first started, at least.
Oh yeah.
That's amazing.
My next thing is getting recycling bins in the office. I'm working on that.
When it comes to referral marketing, though, so I know you mentioned catching fraud out there, and I heard you mention also you might be seeing them come in by the masses, right?
Mhm.
Why wouldn't a company want that? Like, why wouldn't they want to treat it like an affiliate marketer even?
That's a really good question, and yeah, that's a conversation that I have often. I mean, they're coming in masses and they're making purchases, hundreds of
Right.
purchases, but they're discounted purchases. And so again, for some brands, it's something that I see specifically, not only, but I mostly see it on brands that are kind of like more in the luxury or higher ticket, items field, that they don't really want to look like a discounted product. They if somebody goes out and pastes and like shares the coupon code on a coupon site, they don't want to, when you search on Google the name of the brand, you don't want to see the first recommendation as coupon code or like discount or something like that, and have people actually find it, because it's not part of your branding. Like I said, other companies, we work with other companies that are okay with that, and we highlight this to them and we let them know, like, hey, your coupon codes might be on a coupon site. They're okay. They're like, but they still have to make a purchase, right? And we're like, yeah, but and they're okay with that, right? So it really depends on what the company, how the company treats referral marketing, and I mean, it's a legit concern for companies that want to give something special to their customers' friends. They want it to be like a very specific offer that you're getting because somebody that loves our product, it's sharing with you, and not necessarily because it's something that you're finding online. So that's, I mean, for that, like you said, affiliate marketing, they could in that case, they could easily set up an affiliate program running separately from the referral program, and give the appropriate type of reward for the amount of purchases that they might end up getting if the word gets out there. So,
how do I ask this question? So I used to work for a family entertainment center. It was called Brunswick Zone XL. And we would have people come in all the time with the Groupons, either the printed out from online or on their phone.
Yep.
Brunswick was an enormous corporation. We never did Groupons. People were fraudulently posting them. But they would come in and they'd be like, hey, I have this Groupon. I'm like, I'm sorry, that's not legit. The corporation doesn't issue those. Somebody posted this on our behalf. So there was a physical gatekeeper, the folks at the counter at each center, that were saying, hey, this doesn't work. How does it work from the consumer and from the business's perspective if somebody is posting this fraudulently? So like somebody has posted a coupon code on honey, let's say, and I complete a purchase using that coupon code, but then the business, you guys notify them that somebody has posted on honey, maybe let's say the next day, and the business is like, nope, we don't actually want them to be able to use that. What is the aftermath? So do I then, as the consumer, have to go back and pay the difference of what the coupon was, or do you just cease it, or like, how does that work?
Yeah. I mean, we can disable the coupon code, so will no longer work. But yeah, I mean, any purchases. I mean, I guess once the purchase has taken place with a coupon code, that's really up to the merchant to decide what they want to do with those purchases. I mean, personally, like we just said, it's a customer, right? It's a new customer, and they might come back and buy again from you, maybe not even using a coupon code, right? So in those cases, if they already made the first purchase with a coupon code that you didn't want them to use, I would probably not. I mean, I wouldn't make them pay the difference. Let them stay and let them receive the product and hopefully love it and come back for more. But yeah, I mean, it's a legit concern because it's a coupon code that it actually works on the website. And the opposite of the Groupon, like you said, you have some sort of like firewall, like a physical firewall saying no, you can't use that here because we didn't issue that coupon. On an online store, that's not the case, because if the coupon code works at the checkout, that's it. There's really there's no gatekeeper that's going to prevent you from using it. So that's why we put a lot of emphasis on the fraud handling of the referral program, because we understand that it's a concern for merchants when they think about it.
And the next probably best course of action then would just to be for whoever the coupon code belonged to originally, maybe just like not letting them be referral anymore.
Yeah, you can ban that advocate from the referral program, and they won't be able to share the referral link, and their coupon won't work. And
yeah, gotcha. Okay, cool.
And we keep calling this a referral program. Can this be ran as a campaign also? Let's say you don't want to acquire new customers because you're running into supply chain issues. Well, let's reverse that. You do want to acquire customers. Let's say you have a huge influx of inventory. You want to just acquire new customers in general. But in 9 months, you want to discontinue it. You ran out of inventory, ran into all these BS supply chain issues that we're running into now. Can you treat it as a campaign versus an entire program that's more, a long-term program?
That's a really good question. I mean, referral marketing, it has typically been seen as a way to leverage your customer base to acquire new customers. Basically, treat your customer base or turn your customer base into your sales team or your marketing team. So that customer acquisition part, it's crucial, because you are incentivizing your customers to go out and refer their friends and make their friends buy from you. It also has a retention aspect, because if you are giving customers a discount for every friend that they refer, they're incentivized to come back. But the problem in this situation is that in order to be able to acquire that discount, I'm talking about existing customers, in order to be able to acquire that coupon that they can use in a future purchase, they have to refer a friend, and the friend needs to make a purchase. So that the acquisition aspect of it, it's always embedded into the referral program. So, I mean, I would say that if a merchant knows that in, like I said, 9 months, they're not going to be able to fulfill orders, maybe running a referral program is not the best priority at the time, because you might end up having lots of issues with orders that you can't fulfill, and angry customers, and that's the opposite of what you want.
And then I guess you can always tone down. Well, I'm thinking, going back to the testing of it, let's say you do start out with 10% for the referral and 20% for the new customer. Do you see any of your customers playing around with those numbers? Let's say knocking that down to like 5 and 10%. You do. Okay.
Yeah, they can change that any time. And the good thing is that doesn't affect past rewards. So if I acquire a 10% coupon and then the merchant decides to change, my 10% coupon is still mine. So yeah, they do play with that. Also, that's a funny story that happened last year. We had a merchant that, for some reason, their referral sales will always drop during the weekends. And we just saw that trend happening for months. And at some point, I talked to the merchant and I asked them, like, what's going on? Like, why aren't you guys getting any sales? Like, it's the weekend, kind of like a downtime for you guys. And they said, no, actually, it's our best selling time of the week. It's Saturday and Sundays. It turns out that they had on Saturday and Sundays, they had kind of like a store-wide discount happening that was higher than the coupon that you get from a friend. So that's why. So customers decided to use that coupon code and save the one that they got from a friend for a different time. And so, yeah, it really depends on what other promotions you have going on in your store, and play around with that. So also for Black Friday, so maybe you want to modify, maybe increase or maybe reduce the referral rewards to incentivize customers to use the referral coupon or other coupons. And it really depends. But yeah, they have the ability to change that accordingly to whatever other marketing tactics marketing campaigns they might be having at the time.
Gotcha. And do you advise that they hold the rules and the way to enter into this referral program somewhere on their website? Should they have an account that they sign into? I guess how does all that work?
Yeah. So the two main different ways that the companies run referral programs, it's either kind of privately or just public referral programs. So the private referral program is one that you can only join if you're a customer. So typically you get invited after making a purchase on ReferralCandy. That's automated. You get your email after the purchase inviting you to join the program. And that's private in the sense that only customers can get a referral link and share it with their friends. The opposite will be to just have some sort of call to action on the website. Whether it's you can use a dedicated landing page that you've created on ReferralCandy and just link to it on your site. You can have some sort of widget available on your site where people can sign in directly and enter their email address and get a referral link. Both of them have pros and cons, I guess. For the private one, the main con is that you might be missing out on people that are not going to be your customers, but they can be advocates. So if let's say I don't play soccer, but all my friends do. So if I land on a website that's selling soccer products and I'm not going to buy any of them because I don't play soccer, but if I see that they have a referral program and I can give my friends 30% off, I might sign up and share it with my friends, and that way they have just acquired a bunch of new customers from myself that I'm not going to be a customer myself, but I can be an advocate. That to be kind of like the downside of having a private referral program. The opposite, having a public referral program, kind of like all the issues that we mentioned before, right? Like the potential of the program going viral, which for some brands it's great, and for others, they want to keep it private and want to make sure that only customers are the ones that are talking to their friends and family about the product, which is also a legit reason. So.
Right. Yeah, it wouldn't look good for there to be a mass 50% off Louis Vuitton coupon flying around.
Exactly. Yeah.
They would not like that. Well, Raul, thank you so much. I know that you have another meeting right after this, but let's take a quick second. Where can people find out more information about Referral Candy? And actually, if you'll give us a rundown of kind of like the what your ideal customer kind of looks like, if there's a, what do they look like? Who should call you?
I would say, like as I mentioned earlier, we've seen referral programs work from pretty much any industry. I would say that what makes a referral program successful, or what makes you as a brand be in a good position to run a referral program, is kind of like the maturity of the business. The reality is that startups that don't have that many new orders or that many new customers, it's going to take them a longer time to be able to grow that referral program to the point that it makes an impact on their bottom line, because of the nature of how we humans interact. Even if you're, and I think you guys shared that on the kind of like the screen before we got into the call. Even if you run a survey across your customer base and you ask them if they'll be willing to refer, and like 95% of them say yes, only a fraction of those will actually end up referring a friend. And that's just because there's a lot of things that are happening in our daily lives that we just forget about it. So referral programs are a numbers game. And so you need numbers to start with in order to be able to make it successful. One of the things that we always recommend merchants to do is that after they create the referral program, let your past customers know about it. Don't wait for them to come back and buy from you again until they hear about the referral program. Just email them and let them know that there's a referral program that they can benefit from, and also their friends can benefit from. So if you're and this is kind of like a number that a lot of merchants can probably relate to, orders per month. If you're above 500 to 1,000 orders per month, you're in a good spot to launch a referral program. If you have good reviews, your customers are loving your product, you're definitely in a good spot. If your customer support team is getting messages asking about a referral program, then you're definitely in a really good spot.
Awesome. And they can find more info at referralcandy.com?
Yes, referralcandy.com. If you're in Shopify, you can search for Referral Candy on the App Store.
That's very cool. Awesome. And just like we said, www.referralcandy.com. That is going to be linked in the description of the video and the audio experience, as always. Raul, thank you so much for being here. This has been awesome. It's cool to learn about the business back end of it, as opposed to just knowing the consumer front side.
No, thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely. And thank you so much for anybody who is tuned in and listening. If you are listening to us after the fact on either Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, or Spotify, be sure to turn on those automatic downloads. Rate us 5 stars if you guys liked what you heard today. Give us a thumbs up, comment with your thoughts, share with your friends, and be sure to turn on your notifications wherever you watch so that you never miss a conversation with leaders in supply chain and e-commerce like Raul with Referral Candy. Thank you, guys.
Thanks. Bye, guys.